I never thought I was much of a cat person. I grew up in a household where pets were limited to the occasional fish, and my busy lifestyle didn't leave much room for taking care of animals. But that all changed one rainy evening when I crossed paths with a scrappy, stray cat who seemed determined to make me his new human. It was one of those dreary, cold evenings when the rain just wouldn't stop. I was coming home from work, tired and ready to collapse on my couch. As I was fumbling with my keys at the door, I noticed a small, soaked cat huddled under the awning of my building. He was shivering, with matted fur and a look in his eyes that tugged at my heart. I didn't know much about cats, but I knew he looked like he hadn't had a proper meal or a dry place to sleep in a long time. I hesitated for a moment, unsure of what to do. Part of me wanted to keep walking, to leave the responsibility to someone else, but another part of me just couldn't turn away. Without overthinking it, I opened my door and called out softly, "Hey kitty, you want to come in?" To my surprise, he didn't hesitate. He trotted right in, as if he'd been waiting for that invitation all along. Once inside, he immediately started exploring, rubbing against furniture and leaving wet paw prints everywhere. I quickly found an old towel, wrapped him up, and gave him a gentle rub to dry him off. He purred loudly, and I could feel his tiny body relax in my hands. That was the first moment I realized that maybe, just maybe, this little cat had adopted me, rather than the other way around. I scrounged up some leftovers from my fridge, a bit of chicken, which he devoured as if he hadn't eaten in days. Watching him eat, I felt an unexpected warmth. Here was this little creature, completely vulnerable and trusting, who had chosen to step into my life. I decided to call him Smokey, after the gray color of his fur, though it was hard to tell under all the dirt. Over the next few days, Smokey made himself at home. He'd curl up next to me on the couch, follow me around the apartment, and even try to sneak into bed with me at night. Every time I looked at him, I felt a strange mix of responsibility and affection. He was scrappy and stubborn, but he was also sweet and surprisingly affectionate. It didn't take long before I found myself buying cat food, a litter box, and even a few toys. I guess I was officially a cat owner, or rather, a human owned by a cat. Smokey's presence changed my daily routine. I found myself looking forward to coming home from work, knowing he'd be waiting by the door, ready to greet me with a soft meow and a nudge. On weekends, we'd sit by the window together, him watching birds and me sipping my coffee. It was a simple, comforting companionship that I hadn't realized I needed. I took Smokey to the vet, where he got a clean bill of health after a few vaccinations and a good grooming session. The vet estimated that he was about 3 years old and had probably been a stray for a while. It broke my heart to think of him fending for himself on the streets, but I was glad that he'd found his way to me. As weeks turned into months, Smokey became more than just a pet. He became a friend. He was there on good days, bad days, and everything in between. He had a knack for sensing when I was upset, curling up beside me and purring softly until I felt better. I couldn't imagine life without him. Looking back, I realized that Smokey showed up when I needed him the most, even though I didn't know it at the time. He brought a sense of joy and calm that had been missing from my hectic life. I always thought I was the one who saved him, but in reality, he was the one who saved me. It's funny how life works sometimes. I didn't go looking for a cat, but Smokey found me anyway. And now I can't imagine my life without that scrappy little stray who decided that I was worth sticking around for. In the end, I guess it wasn't me who adopted him, it was Smokey who adopted me.